Everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse. And guys, I just got done with All American Season 5, Episode 3, called Feeling Myself. Guys, what a great episode. This was the episode where it is Grace, she's actually choosing her wedding dress in this episode. And it's also the episode of the fact that now Spencer is now involved and Jordan is now involved of knowing about, what Liv and what, Billy had been up to on, pursuing Coach Garrett and all the stuff that Coach Garrett has been doing with all of the, paying his players to take out other players. And now that, Jordan and Spencer are in on things, mainly, Olivia thought that Jordan wouldn't tell Spencer. I don't know why she thought that, but this is the episode where now not just Jordan's involved, now, Spencer's involved. And it's kind of like it's like the awkwardness of that, the fact of, she thought that she wouldn't have to deal with, Spencer would stay out and not, go past the boundary, thought he wouldn't cross that boundary by, since they broke up, that, there wouldn't be any more, any problems there. But it just so happens that the fact of that it made sense that, Spencer is going to want to be involved because there is no, he's crossing a boundary. What you're pursuing is something that could ruin his future and ruin Jordan's future. If you're going to allow Jordan to get involved, Spencer should be involved as well. So I thought that was really stupid, the fact of, Olivia was upset about that, and I was worried about that too, because I saw how angry Olivia was that Jordan told Spencer about, him finding out about, Liv pursuing, Coach Garrett along with Billy, and also them finding out that Isaiah is, that Coach Garrett, paid Isaiah to do, a really, to hurt and injure another player, at the benefit of them, at the benefit of Coach Garrett's and the team winning games. And, I really was worried about that Olivia would be angry that Spencer was involved, even though that Spencer has every right to be involved. And that's exactly what happened in this episode. But, to start off this episode, we have, we have, of course, Grace and we have Spencer at home right now. And Grace is literally doing all the wedding stuff on her own. Right now, she's trying to figure out a place to, get her wedding dress. So she's calling all these different, wedding dress shops, pretty much trying to, make an appointment so she can come in and check out wedding dresses. And Spencer, can see and hear that Grace is kind of, upset at the fact that she has no one to do any of this wedding stuff with. She's kind of doing it all on her own. She's trying on her wedding dress. She's going to be doing that alone. She's been doing, she's been booking all these venues alone. She's kind of been doing everything alone, essentially. I don't know where D'Angelo is because he should be helping her with that, but, he's off doing God knows what. Well, she's setting up, the wedding when it should be both of them setting up the wedding. But pretty much, Spencer, I thought it would be a good idea to call Denise to have her, kind of go with Grace to go pick out wedding dresses. And then, of course, Grace is like, we're not going to be calling in Denise. That's a terrible idea. No, she'll just make it into this big, crazy thing if we invite her in here. No, we're not going to be doing that. And Spencer's like, yeah, I kind of messed up on that. Maybe I should just, keep doing what I'm doing and let you do this. And, of course, he gets a text from Jordan, and then that's when he goes to meet up with Jordan and Olivia, and pretty much that's when, Olivia is surprised to see Spencer, and Jordan's like, oh, I forgot to tell you, Liv, that I told Spencer as well. And then, of course, Olivia's like, why would you tell him, or whatever, and he's like, because I want to help. And it's like, it involves me, you know what I mean? But, of course, Olivia thinks he's crossing a boundary and he should not have been involved. And pretty much, she even says to Spencer, I didn't want to get you involved in what's been going on. I kind of just wanted to keep you out of things. And she thought that would be the best because, she didn't want to, suck him back into all this stuff. But it's like, again, you went to Jordan saying, I came to Jordan about pretty much what you saw in your hunch about Isaiah, or about Coach Garrett hiring Isaiah to take out that player. You know what I mean? You went to Jordan so that way, you wouldn't do the same thing that you did with the whole, I forget the dude's name, Wade, the whole Wade situation where, it just came out of nowhere. And, she didn't want to do the same thing to Jordan again, where it's like, oh, you weren't telling me you were, pursuing now my coach. You know what I mean? He wanted to, not, have Jordan be surprised, but she didn't tell Spencer. And mind you, this is the problem I have with Olivia right now, is that just because you and Spencer aren't dating anymore, and that was the reason kind of, you guys split up, because you wanted to pursue, the Wade, shit, and he was a part of the team, and it kind of made, difficulty in the relationship, and, that's why you broke things off. But now it's like, okay, you're still pursuing now you're pursuing the coach of Jordan and Spencer's team, and you're not, and you're kind of just you're on your pretty much you're on your you're on your mission of like literally going in, not having a care in the world who you're pointing fingers at just because you want to have this story come out, and you want to take down Coach Garrett. That's cool, you want to do that and all, but you need to go in with with a level mind of thinking, okay, I can't just be pointing fingers at people. I need to figure out who was involved, who wasn't involved, and why they were involved, and pretty much and how they got involved. Like, questions you should be asking. And I mean, because you just going in guns blazing and you just pointing fingers at people could really just ruin the program and ruin any person that was not involved, any other player that wasn't involved with what Coach Garrett was doing, and you could ruin their scholarship, and already you're ruining the program just pointing fingers around. That could cause attention to the program and ruin things for players that weren't involved in what Coach Garrett's been up to. So it's like, Spencer and Jordan are pretty much, mainly Spencer is like, okay, like if you want, I understand you want to talk to, all like, all the, players that like all like pretty much, retired players, but you can't do that just pointing fingers and making it look like you're out on out on like a mission to take down, of course, GAU. You know what I mean? You have to you have to go to them and have an open mind of of like interviewing them. You just got to go in very open-minded, and you can't just make it sound like they did something wrong. And of course, she gets angry about that, and Jordan wants nothing to do with this, of what's going on between them both. He sees that this is awkward, and he's like, you guys clearly can't just separate, you guys can't clearly separate that you guys used to date, and there was a problem there. But, you guys are friends now, and again, it's like, this isn't just your problem, Liv, this involves us, and you saying that you are inviting me in, but not inviting Spencer in, because this was a problem in your relationship, it's like, no, you guys aren't in a relationship anymore, but you pursuing still our school makes it our problem, whether you like it or not. Like, there is no crossing a boundary. You're crossing our boundary of now you're pursuing our coach, even though he's doing something wrong, but you pointing fingers at people is what could really F things up, even though what you're doing is, you have good intentions of wanting to stop people from getting hurt, but it's like you're pointing fingers at people where, like, it could ruin it for everybody else that isn't involved. And I think Spencer was trying to, like, tell her that. Is like, okay, like, I understand that, our players aren't talking, like, the players that are, on the team now don't want to talk, because, Olivia's like, oh, look how that went, like, oh, were you able to talk to Isaiah? And of course, Jordan's like, no, he was very resistant and he didn't want to talk or whatever, and that's why Olivia wants to go talk to older players on the team, because they might be more open to talking about what Coach Garrett made them do, or what or what propositions he gave them to make them do what they did. Maybe they knew going into, like, oh, like, you know what I mean, and maybe they regretted it, and maybe they realized that, oh, this will benefit me in my career, but I end up getting kicked off the team at some point. It seems to be like what we find out is that Coach Garrett is literally using everybody to get what he wants, which is wins for his team, and and he wants to build his legacy and everything. But what's very interesting to me is when Jordan leaves, he ends up going to Layla's place, and then when we find out that Layla and Patience, and mainly Patience, and Layla and Gina, which Gina is a new character that we have in this new season of All American. She played Lulu in True Jackson VP. She, got tickets, or got, I think it's tickets, got like tickets or to a red carpet, and it's just to this red carpet, but Patience thinks that she is, going not just to the red carpet, but going to the after party. But it turns out Gina and also Layla were like, no, you aren't going to the after party. People have to pay to get into the after party. We're just using this red carpet as publicity for you, and that's why you're going to wear this dress to show that, you're up on the rise. I mean, you have luxury to wear these expensive dresses, but also, you're on the rise. That's why you're able to go to this event and stuff. So it's pretty much, it's all like, Gina works in the social media. So this is all social media campaign to really build up Patience, you know what I mean, and build up her stardom so she can, get some publicity out there. Like, that's what it's all about, is that Gina works, with the socials and publicity to get, Patience the stardom that she deserves. And pretty much, Patience is upset about that. Patience is, upset at the beginning of this episode when she's talking to Layla, saying that, she just can't stand how, that, Liv is on her own assignment to take down Coach Garrett, or I don't even know if they know what assignment Liv's doing, but Liv is, following her, her dreams and her passion of being a reporter, and we have Coop pretty much, doing her stuff with Laura in her new firm, and pretty much wanting to become a lawyer. And, she just can't stand that everybody is, following their dreams, and she's just kind of like nothing is working for her. She had an album that came out that isn't really isn't really that successful right now. It really isn't like getting that much publicity. And pretty much that's why Gina was hired on, to get Patience more publicity, to get more people to want to go check out Patience's music and this and that. And pretty much that's when she found out, like, oh, we got you invited to this red carpet, and you know what I mean, Gina's bringing over all these dresses, so cheer up or whatever. And, it was very interesting because when Jordan came over, Jordan, of course, just wanted snacks, and, he's like, do you have any snacks around here? I just can't stand being around Liv and being around Spencer right now, because it's so awkward for them to be around each other right now, and it's kind of like it's so much tension. Mainly, I just see the tension coming from Olivia's side. It's like Spencer just wants to help, mainly because, help Liv because he still cares about her, but also wants to help, Liv not ruin his future. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because Liv isn't like thinking like that, like, oh, this could ruin Spencer's future, this could ruin Jordan's future. I just care about my piece, my journalist piece, me cracking down and really, pretty much, pretty much exposing Coach Garrett. That's all she's really focused on. She's on a mission, literally, and she doesn't care what like people's, pretty much who she ruins in the process. I feel like she just does not care. And, pretty much, from there, we found out, like, I guess that's when he finds out that, Patience is, trying on all these dresses. And that's when Jordan is, overhears, of course, when Patience finds out that, that she's not going to the after party from Gina and, of course, Layla, that's when Patience is like, oh, like, okay, so I'm supposed to wear this dress that I don't own and go and not be able to go to the after party because I have to pay to go do that. This just feels weird. And then that's when Jordan suggests, oh, well, maybe, since it feels weird for you, why don't you have Layla wear a dress too? To, you know what I mean? So that way you don't feel weird when you go to the red carpet. And of course, Patience is like, that's actually a great idea. And Layla's like, no, this isn't about me. I'm not doing this. I'm a producer. I'm not going on the red carpet like that. I'm not trying on any of these outfits. I'm a producer. This is strictly to get Patience some publicity. I'm not doing it. And then that's when Patience is like, okay, then I'm not wearing these dresses. I'm not doing it. And Gina's like, no. I got all these dresses. We're doing this. I got hired to make your career, like, pretty much to give you more publicity and more stardom so you can really get famous. No, we're not doing this. And then that's when, of course, Layla's like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And then that's when she punishes Jordan for giving that idea to Patience by saying, okay, Jordan, you know how you didn't like, and you were complaining about having Liv, you were like pretty much traumatized on how many like Liv trying on so many dresses and and taking up so much of your time when you were younger. Well, I'm repaying the favor right now that I'm going to do the same thing to you right now because you put me in a position that I don't want to do. So I'm going to put you in a position of you staying here helping me pick out a dress, which of course I feel like they're still playing the game where they're trying to get at each other because they know that they like each other. So they're playing this game of like, he's being, like, oh, like, he's trying to, like, hold off, he's trying to, like, not, give in to the relationship, and, she's trying to not give into the relationship, so they're playing this game where they're trying to get at each other, like, their cute banter, almost. And, it's just very interesting to me because it's like Jordan, it's like he wants to stay. He's acting like, oh, I don't want to stay, but he wants to stay. It's helped to pick out Layla a dress. You're dumb not wanting to want to stay. That help pick out a girl that you like. You help her pick out a dress. It's like, no, he wants to stay. Sam Michelle, she wants him to be there to help her pick out a dress. I love that. They're acting like they don't want to do that and they're getting at each other, but really that they love doing this to each other because they honestly, they love each other. And you know what I mean? And we're seeing that. We're seeing it's like their cute banter and they love each other. And it's like, I can't wait to see them like officially like start dating. I'm super excited. And especially the ending of this episode, which I can't wait to talk about between Jordan and Layla, which we'll talk about that in a minute. But pretty much, from there, Jordan, we see Spencer leave, Olivia, because Olivia's just not listening to Spencer about, just be careful when you talk to these older players and don't just come at them like you're literally trying to take them down and act like they did something wrong. Just be open-minded when you speak to them and be in their position on why they did what they did. You know what I mean? Like, so just let them say their part. And, that's when we have Spencer go to the wedding, go to the wedding dress shop, and pretty much is there to help Grace pick out her wedding dress, which was super awesome that Spencer came in the clutch saying, you shouldn't do this alone. I want to be here with you while you pick out your wedding dress because this is a big deal. I want to make you feel special, because automatically I feel really bad that Grace is doing all the wedding stuff by herself. This is supposed to be a special, like, this is supposed to be fun stuff that she does, but she's been doing all by herself and she's stressed out. And, he was like, and he wanted to invite Denise, but that's when Grace was like, that's a terrible idea. And he realized, oh my God, it's a terrible idea. So what better way than Spencer, her son, going there to help her pick out her dress for her big day, which was really cute just to see, Grace trying on her dresses and Spencer's there, and we have a montage between, while Spencer is watching Grace try on her dresses, we have, Jordan watching Layla try on her dresses, which was very just cute to see, Jordan, looking, the way he was looking at Layla when she was trying on all these dresses, and the moment where, like, she tried on that black, like, lacy dress, and he was like this, Jordan, I felt that. I was like, bro, I'm there with you. Hot damn, Layla is just so stunning and gorgeous. I was like, I feel you, bro. This resistant game of, I'm gonna try to resist, or I'm gonna be try to act like trying, like, pretty much trying to resist this, so that way you're like, so that way you give in before I give in. Bullshit. I'd be like, fuck this game. I want to get with you. I want to be with you. Fuck this game. I'm done being trying to play hard to get. Like, no. I'm not gonna be, no, I'm giving in. I want to date. Like, F that. Like, bro, shit. But I just loved how also when Grace was trying on dresses, she tried on this one tight dress, and she's showing off her physique in the mirror, and then Spencer's like, oh, this is actually very awkward. Like, but I just love, the moment when Grace finds her dress while Spencer, like, she's in the back trying on the last dress, and I knew at that moment, okay, this is the moment where, like, she finds her dress, I'm assuming, right? And the moment where pretty much Spencer was talking about the feeling that how awkward it was when he was around Olivia, and about just around Olivia in general, even though they're not dating, but especially around Olivia, trying to help her with this Coach Garrett, this Coach Garrett piece. It just felt awkward. It felt like something in his heart felt off, like something when he's around her just feels off. And, we hear Grace just, saying, it must be tough to be around her. And he's like, yeah, like, I have a feeling around her that I can't describe. And then, of course, that's when she comes out, and it's the right dress. It's the perfect dress for Grace's wedding. And I was like, that's perfect. I was thinking to myself, I was like, that's perfect. That's a great dress to have at the wedding. And this is that moment where it's like, this is her the special moment that Spencer wanted her to have, is finding that right dress and someone being there to be like, that's the dress. And I thought that was really awesome. And it's just another reason why I love Spencer's character, is that he's so thoughtful, and he cares about so many people, and it's just, that was just such a great thing that he did for his mother. But there's the one girl that is like, that works at the dress shop, at the wedding dress shop, is literally, there's some kind of connection her and Spencer have. And, I was kind of like, I don't know, after last week's episode when Spencer couldn't go through with sleeping with that girl because he's not that type of dude, I was like, okay, I don't know if he's going to move on. I think he's going to wait for Olivia. And, and we know Liv was really angry last week's episode because she thought Spencer was just, out and about trying to, get with girls and this and that after they broke up. And, I was like, oh my God, I actually see this where it's like Spencer goes out with this girl and maybe he doesn't get back with Olivia maybe until next season, or maybe he starts dating this girl for a while, or maybe, I don't know what's going to happen. Is he going to date this girl? Is he not going to date this girl? Like, is something going to happen here? I was really asking those questions. But as the episode keeps going on, we end up, having the moment where, like, she's like, no, that's the dress or whatever. And we get the moment where next thing you know, she is, talking, I forget when, after, Spencer had that conversation, and, she goes off to go look at veils. And that's when the girl that works at the wedding shop says to Spencer, like, oh, I hope I'm overhearing or whatever, that, you're having trouble, moving on, but, moving on is the best, thing to do or whatever. But this is after the fact of when Spencer, is going to go sign for the wedding dress when Grace found the right wedding dress, and he thinks that she's asking for his autograph, and he's like, okay, that's awkward. I feel awkward now. I feel kind of embarrassed that you thought I thought you were asking for my autograph. And that's when And that's what he's like, oh, I usually like don't sign whatever, you know what I mean? But like, or like, I'm not like, he's like, I'll sign football or whatever. Like, or he's asking what, like, oh, what pen should I use? Like, oh, like, she's like, oh, do you have a pen to sign this or whatever? Or like, or can you sign this? And he's like, do you have a pen or whatever? And he's like, oh, I have a Sharpie. It tends to work better with when it comes to, writing my initials on a football and stuff, and just thinks that she's asking for a signature. But no, she was asking for the signature for the dress. And that's when, it's kind of the point of like, she is kind of flirting with him. He's kind of like flirting with her. And it gets to the point where like she's saying, "Oh, moving on is good. My past relationship, I had to move on. That's the hardest thing to do, but you got to do it." Meaning that, oh, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And and pretty much said something about a date, like, oh, like can you sign and write and sign and date or whatever? Can you sign and date this or whatever? And and then that's when, it kind of comes back around where it's like, or we said sign and date earlier. And then she said, oh, like, it's this drink, because she brings champagne mainly to like congratulate Grace on finding her dress, but also champagne to be like, oh, this is, this drink means like, oh, you know what I mean? Like moving on is good and all that. And, and having a fun time and stuff. I forget what she said. And that's when, Spencer was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you know what I mean? Actually, maybe, kind of like thinking to himself, like, I don't know how I should feel, because kind of in the moment, he's like, things are weird between me and Olivia, but I don't want to move on because I know I couldn't move on because I tried doing that, but I couldn't sleep with somebody else. You know what I mean? I couldn't just, sleep with people. Like, I can't just do that. And I don't want to know that I knew that in that moment. I don't want to move on, but having this, like, meeting this girl, it's kind of like he's thinking to himself, should I pursue this? Should I ask her out on a date and all that stuff? Like, what should I do? And, pretty much from there, we have, Jordan having Layla find the right dress, and you could totally see that, he's like, that's the right dress, and then Layla's like, oh, well, you've said that about all these other dresses, and then he's like, no, this is the right dress forget what I said, this is the right dress. And, that was just, just really cute seeing, her smile and his smile. And that's when, of course, Liv walks in and wants, Jordan to come with her to go talk to that one player, and pretty much sees that there is, like, he kind of doesn't want to leave. He kind of just is like, they're smiling at each other, and he kind of doesn't want to leave. And then that's when he's like, oh, yeah, yeah, let's go do that or whatever, because he's kind of resistant on wanting to leave. And he realizes, oh, I can't, like, I don't want to give away, I don't want to kind of, like, let people know that I like Layla. Like, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go. Like, I gotta just say, let's go do this. And pretty much, she goes to talk to that player, Liv. The dude is really resistant, saying, I'm not going to be part of a GAU, hit piece. I'm not going to do that. And then that's when she says, are you really wanting to, like, I heard that you got 4 concussions in 1 year, and, and pretty much Coach Garrett dropped you, and he's just doing this to other players, and you're here, literally not carding underage, teenagers about drinking. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, you know what I mean? It's like, did you think that he was doing this to other people? Like, not having a care in the world about using people and then moving on to the next people just to build his reputation and just to build his, in his legacy. And then that's when, the dude ends up talking to Olivia. But, it was very interesting to me because, the moment where we have Layla and Patience at the red carpet, they were both having fun at that moment. And kind of like, you could tell, like, Layla was happy that Jordan suggested this to Layla, because it's like she had a good time just as much as Patience had a good time. And it was correct, where Jordan's advice made them both feel good in that moment of like, okay, like, I don't feel awkward because I have Layla here. And Layla's like, oh, actually, I'm happy I did this. I'm happy, like, Jordan pushes me to do fun things. And I feel like that's what Layla's realizing. And I feel like that's why also, like, even like when Layla's done, giving Jordan good advice, you know what I mean? It feels like they just are so good for each other. Their chemistry is like on another level. And, I just love how they have a good time there. And, pretty much at the end of all this, Spencer takes the advice, I guess, ends up going back, I guess, after. I can't remember when this happened. I want to say it was when he went to go pick up the dress after he brought Grace to, like, a big, pretty much a big party at the end of this episode, where pretty much to like of like a congratulations, you found your wedding dress, and congratulations that you're getting married. Pretty much, just like a fun party at Asher's stepdad's restaurant. And pretty much, Jamie wasn't there, but JJ in this episode, he's kind of all over the place. Like, JJ dressed up, and he was going to all these different frat parties. And, he pretty much, just, JJ's not acting like JJ. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's because it's off season or something, or maybe there's something up. I hope we find that out soon, because I don't like this version of JJ where he's just drunk a lot and we don't know what's going on, because it just doesn't seem like JJ. But while that JJ's pretty much doing that throughout the entire episode, where like he doesn't show up until like the last minute at Asher's stepdad's restaurant, and pretty much is there in pretty much a bed sheet, because it was like I think it was like a Grease styled frat party, and he just has a bed sheet on him and he's just shit faced drunk, and pretty much they're like, oh, you smell, you're half naked, like what are you doing, dude? And pretty much Asher's just not having it with him, because he just said he doesn't care anymore about what JJ chooses to do. But Asher is on the rise in this episode. Like Asher got pretty much his big shot. He all of his hard work paid off, where now Coach Montez is actually letting Asher do recruiting for the new season, which it was freaking amazing for the springtime. So that was really awesome to have Asher get his moment of is the moment that he's been wanting of all that hard work. He's moving up to get the position that he really wants to, I think, to become a coach, or hell, become even an assistant coach. So seeing that he gets to recruit, and then him going to, of course, Billy to do recruiting, and comes across Jabari, which it was so awesome to see Jabari again. And it's crazy because my sister was literally saying, oh, do you think we're going to be seeing Jabari again? And I was like, I'm not sure. And then next thing you know, we get the actor that plays Jabari's name pop up literally in the opening of the show. So I was like, oh my God, like she's like, Jabari is in this episode. I was like, oh, I was like, damn. I was like, Annie, like, how'd you know to even like ask that question of like, oh, when are we going to see Jabari? And then he ends up being in this episode. So, the thing that's great about this is that Asher is recruiting. So he goes to South Crenshaw looking for, of course, seniors that are going to be graduating to recruit for the springtime. So it was really awesome that, Jabari is the perfect candidate. But the thing that sucks about that is that when he goes back to Coach Montez saying like, look, I went to, South Crenshaw, and, Billy really talks highly about Jabari. I think he's a good, he'd be a good recruit for, again, UCLA, or for Coastal California. And, that's when he says to Coach Montez says back to Asher, okay, well, like, no, look, we can't use him because we already have JJ in that spot, so we wouldn't be able to use them. Like, we already have like we already have somebody in that position, and he'd be riding the bench all that time. We need somebody that can play and not be riding the bench. But of course he sees that JJ is not taking things seriously. Like, of course Jabari is putting in all the hard work and in the gym, and he's doing all this hard work so that way he can graduate like that year, because he didn't graduate in the last year. So he's really trying to work hard to graduate this year, from what I've gathered. That's what he's really trying to do, is really work hard to graduate this year. And so for him to, since, Asher's been seeing how JJ's not taking things seriously, he's kind of like on the off season, he's kind of just been drinking a lot, not putting any work in the gym. He clearly doesn't like show any like desire to want to keep his position at Coastal California. So pretty much he goes out of his way, ends up saying, because Coach Montez says, Asher, I want you to do what's best for the team. That's the biggest part about being a coach, and also doing recruiting. You have to make decisions that is best for the team. And he says to himself, he makes a call to Coach Montez. Look, pretty much, I already knew what the call was. Like, oh, JJ's out, Jabari's in, and I am not looking forward to that day and that episode when that happens, when I don't know if that was his intentions, Asher, or maybe he thought he could kill two birds with one stone, pretty much get Coach Montez to look at Jabari's tapes, to have him get recruited, but also spark back in that fire and that that urge to be a winner back in JJ, so JJ could fight for the spot as well. But also at the end of the day, that Coach Montez would realize, okay, like you guys can both be in that position, but you guys can take turns. So it works with killing two birds in one stone, or he just wants to replace JJ entirely because he's been lacking on the offseason, and bring in Jabari. But I think Jabari does, really deserves it, because he's going to work 10 times harder to graduate early to get ready for the springtime. That was one of the reasons why also, Coach Montez didn't want to recruit Jabari, is because he would not have been graduated before the springtime. He wouldn't have been, regardless of, JJ being in that spot or not. That just so happens that's another, kink in everything that's going on, is that the fact of, is that, Jabari won't graduate before the springtime, and two, there they have somebody in that position, which is JJ. But it just works that so happens that, again, Asher would know more than anything about, what's best for the team, and also Asher knows how that JJ is lacking. So of course, but the one person that's not lacking and putting in all the hard work to one graduate and also to really show up and to really, and his goal is to get recruited, is Jabari. He's taking everything serious. He's putting all the work in the gym, but he's also putting in all the work when it comes to, hitting the books to graduate high school. And to get into a good school, to also, with education, but also in to get a full ride scholarship to wherever he wants to go for football. So it just so happens that he had to make that harsh decision of telling Coach Montez, JJ's got to be out. He is not wanting to put in the work. He doesn't care. He's drinking. He's just messing around. He doesn't care. But Jabari does care. Let's get him in. I have faith that he is the right choice. And, JJ is not what's best for the team. He's not putting in the work in the offseason. He's not bringing anything to the team. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of feel like I feel really betrayed for JJ, but JJ, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if something's going wrong with JJ and that's why he's acting like this, or he just wants to be like this because it's off season. I don't know. And it hurts me because I don't see this being JJ's character where he would just do something like this. You know what I mean? I just don't buy it. I don't know what the writers are trying to do with this character. I'm just really confused why JJ's acting the way he's acting. And I still don't know how I feel about Asher doing this to JJ. Because at the end of the day, JJ is doing this to Asher, where Asher is being put in this position to want to go to recruit somebody else in hit JJ's position because JJ clearly doesn't want it. Because he's lacking in the offseason, he's not trying to put in that work. Hell, even when it was, when it wasn't off season, JJ didn't want to put in the work. He didn't want to put in the effort. He just thought things were easy, and he was just going with the flow, and just thought like, oh, you're taking things too serious. And Asher was like, Asher just respects things a lot more when it comes to the position and also the opportunity that JJ got of also getting Asher's spot because he got hurt, and that's how JJ got this spot for Coastal California, is because it was Asher's full ride scholarship. And he feels like, okay, like you clearly have no appreciation that you got this handed to you. You didn't really earn it. And it's like JJ has been showing that all throughout. And it just upsets me because I feel like even then it's really showing. But I feel like why is he doing this now where it's like he just wants to drink and do nothing? I don't think it's because it's off season. I think there's something bigger here. At least I hope there is, because it feels like this is the like JJ's shown that he doesn't take things too serious when it comes to having a scholarship and what that means and where that could have him go into getting into the NFL. But like they're really trying to make it look like that JJ really doesn't care by him drinking 24/7 and making him become like a drunk. And I don't know why they're doing that to his character, because I feel like that's not his character. It's like you could have just had him do what he's been doing before to show that he's not taking things too seriously. But why'd you got to make him a drunk and make him just like, make him a mess? That just doesn't feel like his character, and I'm wondering if there's something bigger here. There has to be, or I'm gonna be really annoyed that they made his character like that. Because I just know that he's not that character. You know what I mean? It's just, guys, you guys can understand what I'm trying to say, right? But honestly, though, with the whole, Preach pretty much, getting served, with papers so that way, Amina's grandparents could, take full custody. That was bullshit. That kind of made me think this is coming out of nowhere. If this was going to happen, this should have happened like a season ago when like maybe Mo was alive or maybe after Mo died. It feels like it's really late in the game where this would happen. I'm not sure how I feel about this. It feels like Preach, one, the character can never catch a break. Two, I feel like they're only doing this because they want to give Preach something to do character-wise, and they want to give Amina something to do, and they want to give Coop something to do. And I'm not gonna lie, this does benefit the fact of Coop wanting to become a lawyer, and this really makes it personal where like Coop would really want to get involved while, since she's becoming a lawyer, but this will really want to make her get involved to pretty much make it so that way Amina doesn't get taken away from Preach, and the custody of Amina could still stay with Preach. So I don't know, I feel like this benefits Coop's story, but I just feel bad because it's like you could have made it where it's like it didn't have to be another storyline where there's something going wrong in Preach's life. It feels like Preach can never catch a break, and I have a bit of a problem with that. It's like, come on now, like why can't he just be okay for at least a season? Why do we always have to make it something where it's like someone's trying to screw him over or something bad happens? It's like, it just pisses me off. I just really wish we were kind of like in the chilling period after the whole Killing Mo's situation and Preach possibly going to jail and this and that. And out of nowhere, this new season, the grandparents want to take full custody away from Preach. It's like, this feels like so late in the game. It's like, if you were going to do that, you should have done that last season. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm kind of annoyed about that, but I really want to know what your thoughts are on that and what your thoughts are about JJ, about Asher pretty much going behind JJ's back and pretty much, putting Jabari in JJ's spot. And I think JJ won't realize that until the spring season, when the season starts back up. I feel like there's going to be a lot of drama because also, if I'm being honest, some people could say that Asher said he's done being JJ's friend. So really, this is like a business move and also a coach move of like, okay, like, we're not friends anymore, so I'm done putting you, I'm done caring about this is your position, when other people deserve your position and other people are willing to work harder than you to get this position. Hell, Jabari is literally willing to take extra classes so that way he can graduate early to get ready for the springtime. That's dedication. That's someone that really wants it more than JJ, but there's something wrong. I didn't want them making JJ's character a drunk just so they could benefit Asher's story. That pisses me off if that's what they initially thought about going into this. There has to be a reason why JJ's acting the way he's acting, because it just feels out of character for JJ just to be drinking 24/7, not having a care in the world what's going on. It just feels weird. And I need to know, guys, if you guys kind of see, kind of feel how I feel about that. It just feels weird. And also, do you guys, but the coldest thing, though, that really was the highlight of this episode is how Spencer has so much Riz. Literally, bro memorized when the girl said, "Oh, can you sign the date and can you have your signature and date?" And he mentioned about the football, like, I write, like, when something about, like, using a Sharpie, like, it's best to use a Sharpie on a football. And he literally uses that as a pickup line where he literally writes, when he goes to pick up his mother's dress, he literally writes his signature and he writes his phone number if you were ever serious about that date. And he turns it around and it's his phone number. So he wrote the signature. And then he wrote the date, like his, like, meaning date, like, if you're up for that date, here's my phone number. So that was slick. That he just gave a lot of football players like a smooth move, smooth like pickup line and move to use. If that, what I mean, like, Spencer has so much Riz. That's the biggest Riz move I've ever seen. Is that Spencer doesn't even have to try, but the fact that he remembered, like, I kind of embarrassed myself, and he kind of comes back around to that moment that kind of, like, got a smile out of her and kind of said, like, oh, I'll always remember you as the boy that, as the son that came in to help his mother pick out the wedding dress, and to literally say, oh, if you ever here's, like, since kind of like coming back around to that joke that made him embarrassed with a football with his signature, and if you ever were serious about that date, turns around and has the phone number on it. That's a Riz. Like, that's a Riz. That shit was fire. I was like, okay, Spencer, bro, I see you. That's like, it's such easy Riz for him. To use something that was embarrassing for him and to use that as like Riz, as power in that moment. Like, I mean, as ammo. Bro used it. It's so and used it, in his favor, which was badass. And I do think she's going to call him. And I do think maybe we could see them possibly date for a while. I don't know. I don't know if people will be okay with that. The Spencer Spalivia fans, which again, I'm a Spalivia fan. I love Spencer and Olivia, but I got to say, Olivia at all last season, with the whole going after Wade and her making problems in the relationship with Spencer when that wasn't what Spencer was trying to do. And then, this season where she thinks he's crossing boundaries and this and that, and she's the one that broke up with him, but yet she cares that he's trying to go date other people, but yet she kind of gave him the green light at Grace's, party that she had at the end of this episode of the congratulations to her getting her dress and kind of, getting her excited for her wedding. Olivia pretty much said, I hate the way that, I feel when I'm around you, and what I mean, and you don't have to worry about how that makes you feel because we're not dating anymore and blah, 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 and, we just need to move on. And she kind of gave him the green light for him to go back and use that pickup line and that embarrassment moment of oh, I thought you were asking for my signature, and using that as like, oh, here's my signature with the football with the Sharpie, and also if you're ever serious about the date, here's my phone number, and using it as a pickup line. So in this moment, I think that this is the writers trying to tell us that we might get Spalivia again, but it might not be until next season. I think for this season, Spencer might date for a while. That's what I'm thinking. But next thing you know, we see, of course, next week's episode, which I'm going to put it up right here.
Spencer James reporting for duty? What you need?
Quiet night at home. I look forward to crawling into my bed. It's you.
Is that the only thing you're looking forward to?
Of course not. I'm also looking forward to catching up on my show.
You guys just saw that. Literally, it's crazy. We have a bachelorette party going on with Grace, and she's leaving, of course, the boys at home. I think she's leaving, of course, it's Spencer and leaving Dylan. And I'm not sure if Spencer and Dylan are with everybody else, like, of course, like Jordan, Layla, and Olivia. I'm not quite sure. But we have Grace is out with, of course, Denise and Laura. And, of course, they're getting crazy. They're having the bachelorette party. They're having a fun time. They got the strippers. They got whatever. And they're just having a blast of a time. It looks like crazy shit's going on at home. Whether it's Layla is with Jordan at the Baker house, who knows? Or maybe maybe Layla came to the beach house where Spencer and Dylan were somewhere else. But I'm not quite sure. But in the heat of the moment, what's really going on? But we have Jordan making out with Layla, and we have Spencer and Olivia. There's like something going on with them. I'm not quite sure. Or like he stops her from leaving the room, and there's like some tension right there. I have no clue what's going on. I don't know if this means like Spencer is gonna get back with Olivia in the next episode, or he is going to actually pursue talking to that girl. I have no freaking clue. I'm very confused of what the writers are trying to like throw at us. If Spencer's going to move on, or this Bolivia thing, it continues throughout the season and they'll get back together by the end of the season. I'm not quite sure. I kind of would rather have it maybe where like Spencer dates somebody else for a little bit and then they get back together. Like, you know what I mean? It's like if they're meant to be, they're meant to be. But I feel like it's just so soon, especially after Olivia just said you can move on. And Spencer giving that, pretty much asking that girl out, or putting the literally the ball in her court, essentially. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know what they're doing, because, I mean, next week's episode is just going to be crazy. What's going on? I literally don't know. Especially with Layla and Jordan making out. Does this mean that they're going to start dating now? Because at the end of this episode, Jordan and Layla kiss, because that's something Jordan's been wanting to do all day. And they literally left, of course, Asher's stepdad's, restaurant to go across the street and kiss. But JJ catches them. But JJ's so shit-faced drunk, he doesn't remember that the next day. Which is good and all. And he's like, oh, you didn't see those two hot couples or whatever? You know what I mean? I didn't know if they were trying to ask me to do a threesome or something or whatever. Like, oh, like that's what they could have been asking me. I'm not quite sure. But Asher, but JJ was so drunk. And I don't like how JJ's character's been like this. I hate it. But yeah, guys, literally that was the video. I'm really curious to know what you guys thought about all the crazy shit that went down in this episode. What was your favorite part about this episode? What do you think about Asher, giving, Jabari JJ's position? Do you think that's what he's trying to do? Also, what do you guys think about the whole Spencer moving on with that girl? Do you guys think he should pursue dating, and also maybe pursue also dating that girl? Like, what do you think's gonna happen? Or do you think he's gonna get back with Olivia in this season? Like, are you guys kind of seeing where I'm coming from, where it's like it feels very awkward at the moment of like, okay, she just told him to move on, and in the next episode they're like, what, there's some tension there? Are they gonna get have a moment? Or are they gonna get back together? Like, what's going on? What are the writers trying to tell us? But yeah, honestly, I'm super excited for next week's episode, because anytime that Laura, Denise, and Grace are together, it's a blast of a time. It's a fun time. The three of them, just it's so entertaining to watch that, like just to watch them all together. So I can't wait for next week's episode. I'm super excited. And yet again, here, if you are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, put in notifications, and like this video. I'd love to have you guys here, part of the family, part of the channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. And yet again, guys, we're almost to 600 subscribers. We're making moves, we're making strides. Yet again, when you put on the notification bell, when you subscribe to the channel, and when you like the video, it all helps out with the YouTube algorithm. It helps build this channel up. And I don't know why my dad is calling me. But I'm super excited though, because not only that, I started my Patreon. All the episodes of Andor are up on my Patreon as of right now. The newest episode drops this Thursday. I'll try to get that up this week for you guys. Also, I have so many other, I have 3 different tiers on Patreon, so definitely go check them up. There's I offer a lot of different things to each tier, and that is always, I think it's in the description the bio of my YouTube, so go check that out, or I'll probably put it in the description also of this video. But yeah, guys, that was the video. Hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.